So if I could have everybody's attention, we're going to get started.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am China Cochran, and I am Director of Women's Engagement, but I also do Black Voters in D9, and that's why we're here today. So thank you all for coming. Earlier, when I joined this campaign, I talked to Jeremy, who's a good friend of mine, and he said, we want Senator Warnock here. And so when I got the opportunity to get him in Detroit, that was my first request, is to get him over to the Alpha House. So it's my honor to introduce Jeremy.
All right.
China is a great friend, and I'm so happy that she was able to, amenable with this request and get Senator Warnock here. Of course, we know how beloved the Detroit Alphas is to the fraternity, but we wanted to make sure that we let Senator Warnock know. We made a sizable donation to your campaign when you were running. We make sure that we do voter engagement on an ongoing basis. And our voter engagement director, Chad King, is here to tell you a little bit more about what we do.
Chad. Good morning, everyone. So as I said, I'm Chad King, and I am the chairperson of the Voteless People as a Hoax People and the Gamma Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Now, this program is one of our 4 national programs established in 1936 during a time of turmoil relative to African Americans, black people in this country, and voting. It was during a time when black people were prohibited from voting. Poll taxes were excised against black people. Black people were prevented from going to the polls. In many cases, black people were killed for trying to exercise this mechanism of freedom. And so this particular program was established to combat all of that stuff. It was established to make sure that our people were registered to vote. It was established to make sure that our people could actually go to the polls and vote. It was established to make sure that we were able to advocate for our people to go and vote, make sure our people were educated on the voting electoral process and educated on candidates. And so today, as we have done for the past 80 some odd years, we've been engaged in this work. We've been engaged in bringing candidates specifically in Detroit to the historic Alpha House, no matter what party affiliation you have, because we are a non-partisan organization. And so we extend the invite to everybody, and sometimes they take it, sometimes they don't. But the point is, we want to make sure that everybody in our fraternity, everybody in our community that is impacted by politicians and the policies that they legislate, have a say-so and are educated on who they are, what they are, and why they're doing what they do. And so that's what we do for Voteless People as a Hoax People. And I want to give our chapter president, Harry Todd, the 50th chapter president,
my brother,
Lambda.
Thank you. I always tell everybody, goodwill is the moniker of this house. Men enter, unacquainted, exchange greetings, depart, friends. Women as well. Alpha House, our Kappa brothers. One thing about this house has been an oasis of tranquility since 1939, once we bought it. This is the oldest fraternity house in the D9 system. We're proud to have you, our brother. You're making history here, and we're making history with you. Paul Robeson was here. Okay, and other luminaries such as yourself, and we're proud. Thank you for your engagement. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for thinking about us. First of all, servants of all, we shall transcend all. And thank all of you who took the time out on a Friday morning to come here. This election is important. Sure, we are nonpartisan, and I'm winking. I'm winking. But let's be real. We know what is at stake. Our rights, that's right. Our freedoms.
That's right.
We talk about big government and all that. Who wants the government in your bedroom? Right. Or to tell you what to do with your body? Amen. And our black men who are out here who can't hear me, I want to grab you by the arm and say, brother, come on, brother. Come on, brother. Let's wake up. It's not just about the presidency, it's about the judiciary. Yeah. Like 60% of the federal judges will be up for retirement in the next 4 years. It matters who they put forth that nomination to your august body. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
My brother.
Well, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you all so very much. Thank you, President Todd. It's wonderful to be here. Clearly, this is a bipartisan gathering because you got alphas and kappas. And omegas and sigmas, AKAs and deltas. This is a non-partisan gathering. Listen, it's great to be in Detroit. Great things happen in Detroit. For me, this is always Motown.
Right.
Soundtrack and the music of our lives, the sounds that kept us moving and praying when we couldn't hear nobody pray. The music that we danced to on Saturday night at the club. And then there were others who gathered in church on Sunday morning.
That's right.
And the same folk who were in church on Sunday morning were the same people who were at the club. I've been a pastor a long time. And all of it, the spirituals, the gospel, the blues, R&B, come from the same root.
That's right.
The anguished ruminations of a subjugated people speaking to God in their own voice. A lot of that magic was created here. I had an older father. He was 52 years old when I was born. Born in 1917. He was a World War II vet. And he spent a little bit of time here in Detroit. He's gone now, long past into the light. I should have asked him more about it. But he was a part of that great migration for a while. He returned back to the South where I was born and raised. But he spent some time here. He was a World War II veteran, and I think maybe it was there that he learned how to weld. And my dad would wake me up every morning, 7 days a week. I come from a large family, 12 of us. I'm number 11 out of 12. First college graduate. My dad was also a preacher who believed in the scriptures, be fruitful and multiply.
There's 14 of us, so y'all
And
two
there
behind.
you go. Wake me up 7 days a week during the school year or during the summer. You didn't sleep late in that house. And his moniker was get up, get dressed, put your shoes on. He especially didn't believe that men walked around with their shoes off. It was just a thing. He had to put shoes on. For him, it was a sign of readiness. And so I'm grateful for him. I think he learned the well probably when he was a veteran in World War II. My dad was a preacher and a junk man. Monday through Friday, he would load these cars onto the back of a rig that he engineered himself. I don't know how he did that without an engineering degree or physics degree. He built these various mechanisms to learn how to, where he would just stack one car on top of another, pick up these old cars, took them to the steel yard. That's how he took care of his family. But on Sunday morning, the man who spent all week picking up broken cars stood behind the pulpit and picked up broken people. And convinced them that they were God's somebody. And that our God is a junk man who picks up other people that other people have thrown away. That God sees the value and the dignity and the promise and the possibility in all of us. And that is what has guided my work in public service. And so I'm proud to be an alpha man.
All right.
I'm proud to be a member of the Divine Nine. Proud to be a Morehouse man.
Oh, Morehouse.
Right here.
That's why you know about the plug.
I'm a proud American.
Got to.
And in this American moment, we need the Divine Nine. And through Kamala Harris, the Divine Nine is getting ready to save the country again. You ought to be proud of that. Are you proud of that? And so let's get behind her. I know we're already there, but let's, in these next 18 days, redouble our efforts. Let's lean in because there's so much at stake. This assault on women's intelligence. You know, he said that she wasn't that bright. This assault on people of color. This assault on everybody who's different from him. Cannot stand. And we got to stand with women in this moment. I'm pro-choice. And I'm a pro-choice pastor. Because I believe that the issue is not how do you personally feel about an abortion or when you think it's appropriate. I think the issue is whose decision is it. And I'm thinking right now about Amber Thurman.
Yes.
A young black woman in Georgia. And this is the story we know about. There are many others. First of all, let me say that the maternal mortality rate in our country is criminal. Among the wealthy nations, we have the highest maternal mortality rate. Am I right, Mayor? In the whole world. Among the wealthy nations. No other nation with our wealth, with our technology, with our medicine, has women dying, just having babies at the rate that we do in America. And for black women, it's 3 to 4 times the rate of white women. And while it shouldn't matter, because all of us are children of God, we're talking about black women with college degrees, with a job, with insurance. And yet the bias in our medical system is such that when you are a black woman bringing a baby into this world, you got one foot in the grave. And so that's been the case for a long time. And so I've got bills that I've passed addressing this issue of maternal mortality. Because I don't understand how we can just tolerate that. In fact, I got a bill with Marco Rubio, a Republican, on this issue because I said, Marco, if you're pro-life, then you ought to help me save the lives of some of these women.
That's right.
But on top of this problem, you've got now this all-out assault. If you send Donald Trump to the White House, not by voting for him, because not many of us are going to vote for him. I don't care what they're saying. Not many of us, but by not showing up. You're going to get a nationwide abortion ban. And I want you to think about Amber Thurman, a young black woman who was already a mother. It's not that she didn't want to be a mother. And she needed a D&C. The women here know what that is. That's routine medical care. Women have to have that sometimes after having a miscarriage. That's right. So you can stay alive. Right. And now we've got this dilemma where literally women are walking around, they're carrying a fetus that's no longer vital, and their lives are in danger, and the doctor's hands are tied because the politics has entered the patient's room. And Amber Thurman needed a D&C and couldn't get one. Laid there languishing in a hospital. She's in a place of healing, and they were not doing anything for her. Because the doctors were in this dilemma between their Hippocratic oath and the very reality that they thought they might be facing prison time. And finally, after 20 hours, they said, well, we got to do something. It was too late and she died. Leaving, for those who are pro-family, leaving her 6-year-old son, now 8 years old. And so that's not just a women's issue, that's a family issue. It's a human dignity issue. It's a human rights issue. And if we care about it, we ought to show up for Kamala Harris.
Right.
Now let me say this, and then I'm done, because I'm a preacher. I know when I'm preaching to the choir. We need brothers to show up. Now I don't buy this hype. We'll see after election day. You know, but I'm not convinced. I don't buy this messaging that we're hearing that there's going to be these huge waves of black men voting for Donald Trump. I don't believe it.
Not happening.
There will be some.
Yes.
Because we're not a monolith. Yeah, of course there will be some. There was some the last time. And there will be some. But I don't believe that these huge numbers of black men voted for Donald Trump because we know who Donald Trump is. This is the man who early in his real estate career wouldn't even rent apartments to black people. This is the man who took out a full-page ad saying that these 5 young men of color who were accused of a heinous and horrific crime should receive the death penalty. All of them were teenagers. And then when it was discovered that it was wrong, that they had gone to prison for an awful crime that they had not committed, and the evidence showed it, and the Central Park 5 became the exonerated 5, Donald Trump doubled down and said, I stand by what I said back then. You go, right? We know who he is. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris, as a prosecutor, we ain't mad at her for being a prosecutor. In fact, if you're talking about dealing with this issue of inequities in the criminal justice system, a lot of the power is in the hands of the prosecutor, am I right? In some ways, the prosecutors got more power than the judge because they decide who to charge, how to charge it. You need conscientious prosecutors. And instead of prosecuting brothers to the full extent of the law, she often tried to find people a pathway to a second chance. And now she has put forward a proposal that would legalize marijuana. I think that's a good idea.
Here, here.
I think it's a good idea. Yeah, it's a good idea. I'm saying that not for me, not because I want some, but because communities like this has been recently revitalized. We saw for decades how black and brown communities like this were literally hollowed out by the enforcement of marijuana. The enforcement has created as much or more damage in the case of marijuana than the drug. And as the cannabis industry blossoms, no pun intended, we need to make sure that brothers and sisters have a piece of that business.
Come on.
And she's talking about providing loans that are forgivable for up to $20,000 for some 1 million small businesses. So that's the work that we've got to do. And so just make sure that all the brothers in your circle, make sure everybody you know, Lottie Dottie and everybody, shows up to vote. Because that's the real threat. It's not voting for Trump. The threat is apathy and not showing up. The threat is indifference. The threat is not seeing the stakes and as high as they are. You're going to see more George Floyds if Donald Trump goes into the White House. Because the folks who are inclined to do that, the law enforcement officers who are inclined to do that will feel like they have license under a Trump Justice Department. So tell brothers they better vote like their lives depend on it because it does. So make sure everybody in your circle shows up to vote. And sisters, you got the power.
Yes.
If the rest of the country would just do what black women have been doing, we'd be better off long time ago. I just need the country to do what black women have been doing. And so you got the power. If you married to him, tell him it's going to be a long, cold night for him. I'm telling you, you got the power. If he doesn't vote. And if you're single and the brother asks you for your phone number, tell him to write it on the back of his voter registration card because we don't date people who don't vote. All right, we got 18 more days. Let's make the statement.
Okay, well, the executive board of Alpha is gonna go outside. I also wanna get pictures with the D9 ladies and my Alpha Kappa Alpha sisters. And, we have food here, so we don't want you to just leave. We want you to partake in what we have and mix and mingle. And also get with me because I have assignments for you. We need your help this weekend. We have a lot going on these last 19 days, and so I need your help, and I need you to get with me. And there was a thing that said I want to volunteer. Please check that off if you haven't done so in your sign-in sheet. And thank you so much. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you very much. Thank you.